Hey guys, Bryan here from Liquid Concepts. So today we're going to talk a little bit about clear coating, fixing a few things, and how to make your parts look really great. So inevitably, even with us as professionals, you guys as professionals, and even hobbyists alike, we all have parts that whenever we clear coat it, they look great, and then we come back and we see these little spots, little specks, maybe it's not quite as glossy, things like that. A lot of the times those are easy fixes, and so a lot of the times too, a lot of customers will ask us, well, how many parts do you buff a day? And really, we don't buff hardly a lot at all, and mainly because we do a lot of smaller, intricate pieces. Now, if we were a body shop and we were doing full car panels and everything, sure, we'd opt to probably buff more than we would clear coat or re-clear. And so, kind of wanted to shoot a quick little video for the weekly tips and tricks video today, and wanted to go over what you need to do if you have a part that has been either has a run in it, or it has some trash in the clear, or something on the clear coat just didn't quite look the way that it needed to. And so today what we've got is this is actually a radiator cover for a Camaro piece, and it's from Phase Tech. It's a really great company to deal with. They make awesome parts. They have filler panels and things like that. We wanted it done in a carbon fiber, so we shot it in a carbon. As you can tell in the video here, it doesn't really look that great. Now again, this is our first coat on it, and so we've got some trash, we've got a little bit of haze in it. Not a big deal. It's something that can be easily fixed and easily brought back to life. So there's two ways that we can do this. Number one, we can scuff it down and re-clear coat it, or in this case, because it is a flat part, we could actually grab the buffer and try to buff it out. Now, I don't know if you've ever tried to buff anything with a big 7-inch buffer, but it normally doesn't go too well for you or the part that you're doing. So in this case, we're going to go ahead and actually scuff this thing back down and re-clear coat it, because it's going to be the quickest and easiest thing to do instead of trying to sit here and buff everything out. Now, if you're on a time crunch or something like that, you could buff out like maybe just a little speck here or a little speck there, not a big deal. But whenever you have a part that looks like this right here, you definitely want to smooth everything out, get it looking show quality, and get your customer to really love it. And so this is what we're going to end up doing with this part right here, is we're actually going to take and scuff it down. So there's a couple of ways that you can do this. Number one, you can use a Scotch Brite pad. So red Scotch Brite is perfectly fine. It'll make a little bit deeper scratches, but it'll still work. Most of the time the clear coat will cover up any of the sand scratches, anything like that, so you don't have to worry about it. A lot of the times it's normally best to use like a gray Scotch Brite. That's more for actually built for just clear coats, so you can do that as well. Now with the red, you don't want to get really aggressive with it because you don't want to put too deep of sand scratches in it, but if you're just wanting to just re-clear coat everything, you can use the red. Now one thing about this compared to sandpaper is that this is not really going to level things off and take off little bitty nibs or pieces of trash or things like that. And so that's where the sandpaper comes in. So what we've got here is, and this is normally our go-to, is it's actually 800 grit sandpaper. And so a lot of people you'll hear across the web, and people saying, oh yeah, I need to wet sand that and then buff it back out, or I need to wet sand this and then re-clear coat it. A lot of the times it's perfectly fine to wet sand. It does keep your paper lasting a lot longer, but there's also a drawback to it. And so I kind of wanted to show this to you here on the reason why we normally actually dry sand instead of wet sanding, and mainly because we have smaller pieces. And so what we've got here is we've got 800 grit. This is just essentially 800 grit. It's from 3M. You can get any brand that you want, but this is a sticky back, and so it's nice because we can just stick it like this, and then now we have a ready to sand piece of paper. So what we're going to do here is that we're going to take and start scuffing this down with the sandpaper. Now you can use 800, you can use 1000, you can use 1500, you can even use 2000. If you're going to sand this back down, and let's say that you have a major run in it. I mean, that thing just, it looks like, you know, just tons of runs in it. You definitely want to probably maybe go a little bit more than 800. But if you got little nibs here and there, little bitty specks, things like that, 800 to 1,000, even 1,500, perfectly fine. So of course the 800 is going to take it off a lot quicker, so you do have to be a little bit more careful whenever you're sanding your part. Of course the 1,500, it's going to take a little bit longer. It's going to give you a little bit slicker finish, but at the same time you're going to be re-clear coating it, so you don't have to worry about getting it super, I mean just absolutely perfectly slick, because the clear coat, whenever it's laid out, it will actually self-level itself, and then you're going to have a slick surface as long as everything else is sprayed right. So in this case, like I said, we're going to use 800. Now again, I talked about wet and dry, and the main thing is that whenever you're wet sanding or dry sanding, there's a couple of things that you're going to see. Of course, with wet sanding, it's just going to be wet. You're just going to have to sit there, go over most of it, and then wipe it off, dry it, and see where it's actually dull finish versus a gloss finish. And so where you see the gloss at, that's where you haven't gotten it at. But in this case, we're actually going to do a dry sanding, and so we're going to see it a lot quicker whenever we're sanding it out. And so what we're going to do here is we're going to take, and you can see I'm just going to start right in this area right here. So of course we got 800, and we're just going to start scuffing this, and just real quickly here, I just hit that real quick. And so what you can see here is you can see these little dots that I've got right through here, and then also right in here. So what that's telling me is that right in there was a spot, maybe a piece of trash or something like that, that I've already started to knock off. And so the more and more that I sand with that, the more it's going to start getting it all one smooth sheen. And so it's going to, of course, be a dull sanded surface. So of course, you want to make sure that you kind of keep your sandpaper as clean as possible. Get some air, you can blow it off. It'll last you. This one piece will definitely be plenty more than what we need for this one piece right here. So I'm going to go ahead and keep sanding with it. But what you're going to see is that as we're sanding, all of those little specks that we had are going to go away. And so the nice thing is that whenever we're dry sanding like this, we can visually see how much we need to go on everything. And so of course we can take and wipe all this off with the dust and everything that we've created, and now you can see where all of this area right in here is actually all completely smooth. We've got it down to one smooth surface, but you can see on these edges how I've still got a little bit of orange peel all in this area right in here. You can see that I need to actually hit that a little bit more. And so by dry sanding, your paper doesn't last quite as long, but you get an instant visual verification that, hey, this is already smooth, we're ready to go, or hey, we need to sand it a little bit more. And so of course you're going to get plenty of buildup on your sandpaper, and so you're going to have to keep it a lot cleaner if you want it to last longer. And so usually the easiest and quickest way to do it is to just kind of hit it on the table, and you can see it takes off most of it. So we can hit it like that. You can even wipe it off with your fingers, perfectly fine. And so then we're ready to go back and hit it again, and then start scuffing it all the way around. And so pretty much what we're going to do here is on a piece like this, we're going to, of course, we want to be really careful around these edges, because we'll get some buildup around in here. So we want to just kind of lightly go around these areas here, because we don't want to cut through any of the clear coat. So the other thing to remember is that you don't want to, of course, go through your clear. And so a lot of the times, if you know, like let's say that I was clear coating this and I saw just tons of little specks in it and I was already on my second coat. A lot of the times you can actually take and spray another coat on there, and now you've got 3 coats of clear. Even though you've got specks in it and everything like that, you know you've got 3 coats. Or you can even go 4 coats. I wouldn't probably go over that, but again, everybody's got their own personal preference. So if I saw that whenever I was in the booth and I was clear coating it, I went ahead and added that 3rd extra coat on there. now I know that I've got a little bit more clear that I can kind of take off and smooth out and get it looking exactly perfect the way that it needs to be. Even though I know that I'm going to have to sand it later, I'm already preparing for it, because then I know that I've got an extra layer of clear to help sand it smooth and then get it ready for the second time that we actually clear coat. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to sand all this down. Once we get it sanded down, we're going to take our wax and grease remover and then wipe everything down. You can use a solvent base, you can use a water base. At this point, it's not really too critical. A lot of times we actually still use the solvent base just because the hands, anywhere that we're touching it or anything like that, we want to make sure that it's a completely smooth, clean surface. So again, you saw how quickly the 800 it took out all of the little nibs and everything. Everything feels really smooth, and so now if we were to have this right here over the entire part, it would be ready to go and ready to clear coat again. So all the sand scratches that you see, the clear coat will actually cover up, so you won't see any of those whenever you go to re-clear it. And also the nice thing is between 800 to 1500, there's still enough of a sand scratch for that clear to really bond into and get a good bond between the two clear coats that you've got. Versus if you go and you spray it with, say, 2000 grit or even 3000 grit sand scratches, it's not going to bond very well, and it's pretty much just going to be a layer on a layer and not actually bond it in and get a good bond with it. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to finish sanding all this out, we'll get it all smoothed out, we'll show you some video of it, let you see it, and then we're going to take it in the booth, re-clear coat it, and you're going to see a world of difference just in fixing something that looks pretty much terrible in my opinion. And then essentially it's a quick fix. All we do is come in, sand it just like what I was saying before, and then you're ready to go. Now, one thing to remember is let's say that you've got a little bitty spot right up here and you don't really feel comfortable in taking your sandpaper and sanding it. That's where the Scotch Brite comes in. So inevitably you'll have a part that you're doing and it's got curves, it's got all these different areas that you've got to try to get your sandpaper in and you just can't get it in there. So this is where the Scotch Brite actually really comes in handy, because then we can come in here with the Scotch Brite pad and actually scuff all of these areas right in here just like this, and it gets good. It knocks the sheen off, as well as it takes and gives us a very clean edge, as well as it gives the clear coat something to bond to, but yet we're not actually sanding it smooth, because inevitably this is kind of hard to get in, little bitty corners, things like that. But because these things are so flexible, these work really well in getting into those hard to reach areas. So if you've got valve covers, you've got an intake manifold, you've got rims that you're re-clearing, anything like that that has complex shapes to it, a lot of the times what we'll do is we'll use a combination of both, where we sand everything that we can get to with our sandpaper, and then we'll come back and actually scuff it again to make sure that we get all the gloss off of it. Because once we get the gloss sheen off of there, we know that it's been scuffed, it's got a good sand scratch on it, and then now we're ready to take it in there and re-clear it, and we know that our clear is actually going to stick and to bond very well with the first coat that we just sprayed. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to get everything finished with this, and stay tuned and you guys will see the end result. So I think you're really going to be pleased. we got the clear coat shot. Everything looks great. It looks fantastic. There's not a speck on it. It came out like glass, which is exactly what we want. So definitely want to give a big shout out to Tyler. He's our cameraman right now, but he did an excellent job on spraying these, so definitely thank you for that. And you know, I hope this really helps you out on knowing how to fix anything that you might have, as far as if you have any types of specks, or maybe it's not quite glossy enough or anything like that. Now, one thing that you definitely want to make sure of whenever we're spraying this, and you can kind of see this in the video, is that we're laying it down wet, and you don't want it dry, you don't want it like semi-wet, you want a good wet coat. Now, of course, you don't want enough to make it run, but you want a good coat. And once you get that nice, smooth, wet coat, everything will flow out. And then, of course, once these parts dry, then we'll be ready to go. We're ready to ship them out to the customer. Customer's going to absolutely love them. So I really enjoyed this video. I hope you guys too. If you really liked it, definitely hit the subscribe button. We'd love to have you subscribe to us for our weekly tips and tricks videos. And you know, if you got any other questions or comments or anything, definitely leave them below. We'd love to hear from you on any videos or questions that you may have or anything like that. So I'm Bryan from Liquid Concepts, and we're making hydrographics great again. Thank you guys.